Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first practice session of the 2020 season here at Albert Park, Melbourne for the Australian Grand Prix. I am JW97, and I'm joined today by Nicholas Zorbach. How are you doing?
Quite good actually. How about you?
Very well indeed. Well, we are here in Melbourne to kick off the season as per usual, and surprisingly, and I think we can be happy, no COVID-19 is going to interfere with this race and the season as
Woohoo!
well. So the season it never was. So we'll be getting set for the practice session. You can see the weather on your screens. It's going to be a dry practice session. So I think without further ado, let us get into it. So I guess you've been witnessing what's been going on in testing, Nico. At times you've been able to watch it. What have you so far made of it so far?
But this season will be very, very exciting. Especially
Nicholas
for the
Zorbach.
last one before the fantasy era.
It is indeed. And well, obviously, I think there is obviously a lot of talking points going into this season. Of course, this is obviously the first season, of course, without Jay McKenzie, as some people have alluded to, which is which for a lot of people they're saying it won't feel the same without him, which is that. But also, of course, you may have noticed with the timer, before people say that's an error, it is not. This is the first session that the practice sessions are going to be half an hour long, of course. You may remember we said last season that the practice sessions from this season will be going up to 30 minutes, and then from 2021 onwards, they'll be 40 minutes long. So you've got an extra 5 minutes in this practice session, as the first person on the track is Felix Sontag in the Williams. And Williams have looked pretty okay in testing, must be said, getting right in the mix with Haas, Alfa Romeo, and of course Manor. And it's looking like at the back of the field, if testing is anything to go by, that the back of the field could be very, very interesting to watch.
Yeah, indeed. As we see the special sponsors on the car for Felix. Especially on the front wing where the Mercedes logo should be is a Schalke logo, which I approve.
A lot of the teams have got special liveries, but this one is the more special one as well. Evan Byrne has got a special livery going on, and it's in tribute, in fact, to, if I'm trying to read, in fact, I think Evan will give details as to who it's paying tribute to, but it is a tribute livery that he's running on the car. So I guess, excuse me, as I've got a bit of a cough on my throat.
No problem.
But yeah, so Evan Byrne is the second person out on the racetrack, and Renault looking to see if they can put the disappointment of last season behind them. Of course, given that last season it didn't really go according to plan, especially with the number of reliability issues that they had.
I would think that they could get a podium at one point in the season, I think. Maybe this weekend. We will wait and
Well,
see.
of course, we'll have to wait and see, of course. Ferrari, of course, going through testing, looked like they were struggling throughout the course of the testing period. It'd be very interesting to see where they end up after this first race of the season. Of course, it's their first season without Joseph Willows for the first time since 2010. Joseph, of course, going back to McLaren, a new challenge for him as he hopes to turn the team around in time for the fantasy era. As we've got the first laps on the way for practice. Now, it's all the main drivers out on track for this practice session. This week, of course, just so you know, that this week we will be the testing schedules for all the test drivers will be revealed for all 11 test drivers, so be on the lookout for that. On top of that as well, also coming out this week as well, we have the Indy 500 sign-ups that are going to be open as well. So they are going to be open this Thursday to be exact, so in 2 days' time. So be on the lookout for that indeed. So yeah, of course, as per usual, it's only open to people who are in either tier 1, 2, 3 or 4. Or 5, I should say, in any of the 5 tiers this season, whether that be in the top class, GP2, BTCC, FE, and BTCC, or if you're a former driver as well, provided, of course, that you're not banned or suspended. Anywho, Andre Vaderi we're now looking at as well in the Alfa Romeo. Very lucky to keep his seat from last season. Same goes for his teammate Gabriel Gomez, and he'll be looking to put the disappointment of last season behind him. Although Alfa Romeo, as we pointed out a little bit earlier on, testing not going particularly well for them either. So it looks like they could be struggling this season. As we ride on board with Miklos Gau, who's looking to build on what was a much improved 2019 season for the Hungarian, you'd have to say, Nico.
Yeah, definitely. He has been really good last season, and I hope that he will. And we all hope, I think, that he will do even better this year.
Indeed,
and maybe challenge for the title.
Well, you'll be hoping to indeed, given that it's looked like in testing that Red Bull could be the only challengers to Mercedes for this season. We'll have to wait and see. Some lap times coming in. We've got Chatfield who's coming at the top. Franco Gamba only managing third on his first lap there. I don't know if he had any traffic around him. Rote goes into sixth. Chung goes to ninth. Gomez goes to 12th. As meantime, Galloway goes into third position as Carr now goes to the top by 400ths of a second in the Mercedes. So Carr getting to the top of the timing sheets right there. Meanwhile, Motrin gets up into fourth position. De Rosa goes into 11th. His teammate is in eighth position at this point in time. Gal only 12th that time by. Wilson getting herself right in the thick of the battle for the back end of the field, it must be said, as Griffiths gets into 13th, in fact. So he's getting right into the thick of it. Griffiths, during testing, looking quite strong in that Williams compared to teammate Felix Sontag, as the first lap times have already been put on the board. And it's so far Carr at the top with Chatfield in second, Keepock in third, Motrin fourth, Galloway in fifth, and then it's Franco Gamba in sixth, Lopez only seventh, with Willows in eighth, Roke in ninth, and Byrne rounding off the top 10. And speaking of Byrne, we're looking at him now. It doesn't look like he's going to be on an improvement, but we'll wait and see anyway, as the Irishman comes across the line and does not improve as expected, as he makes his way down towards the first corner. Fraser, meanwhile, gets up into 18th position in his debut race, the 2019 DTM champion, looking to put on the show in his rookie season. Also having a rookie teammate alongside him as well in Dudu Kirby, of course, won the GP2 title last season, along with the 2017 BTCC title that he won a couple of seasons ago. So Haas looking to have a much better year compared to last season, as they did fall back compared to their 2018 pace, and it looked like, during from testing, it looks like it could be a similar story for the season, as Evan there gets a very big lockup going into turn 6, I believe that was a double lockup for the Irishman. So that's not a good sign for him there then, as he makes his way through into the right and left-hander. The lap already being chucked down the toilet as far as he is concerned. I mentioned to you earlier on, Nika, that every one of these liveries have got personalised sponsors depending on who the driver is. It's to try and create some realism, basically, so it doesn't feature on just one car. It actually features on both cars. So something to keep in note about. As meantime, the two AlphaTauri is currently second and third at the moment, and they were able to show some good pace on the last day of testing. Whether they can transfer that into the season after team. Speaking of which, they're both following the Ferrari of Roberto Gamba, who of course makes his grand return to the top class, and I think he might have made a mistake going through the chicane. Let's see, and yes, he did. Got a bit of oversteer on the exit there. So, and as you can see, his helmet has been fixed compared to day 4. Same with Franco Gomez as well. There was a little bit of a texture glitch to happen with their helmets, but Yuri has thankfully got the problem sorted out for both of their helmets, as his lap has already been compromised as a result, and he could even hold up the two AlphaTauris if he's not careful, both Keepock and Chatfield. As Gamba makes his way around the final turn, Roberto currently in 14th position, teammate down in 16th. So far, as expected, the Ferraris appear to be struggling. And it seems that's going to be the case throughout the course of the season. Byrne now then, going around turn 3 now then, as he makes his way through turn 4. Taking the car in through the left-hander as he makes his way flat out through turn 5. As meanwhile, Laura Chung wasn't able to improve on that lap. She makes a little bit of an error going through into the first corner there. The Ferrari looking like it's becoming a bit of a handful under both Chung and Roberto Gamba at this point in time. And maybe a sign of things to come, of course. So now through turn 3 goes Laura Chung, and obviously last season, of course, she was brought in basically last minute to Ferrari as a result of Florian Volker announcing a very shocking retirement. Of course, remains at Ferrari for another season, although it looks like she could be struggling this season, given that the pace of the Ferrari doesn't look particularly good at this point in time. As coming out of the chicane there goes Byrne, along with two other cars that are quite a far way behind him, but it doesn't look like the Irishman is on an improvement, so we'll have to wait and see on that as he flicks the car through the right-hander. The cars behind him are Fraser, and I believe that might be, I think, Lopez, if I'm not mistaken. As now the AlphaTauri trying to get by there on Roberto Gamba. That is David Cupot trying to find a way through, but wasn't able to do so at that point in time. So it's obviously Chatfield that's behind Cupot at this point in time, not the other way around. Byrne crosses the line, no improvement, remains where he is. And you would have noticed as well that the onboard cameras have actually been fixed now on the Renault, because there was a little bit of an issue with the onboard cameras with the Renault during pre-season testing, but at long last, Yuri has been able to fix those onboard cameras, got the right tweaker settings, and as you can see, we can now see both Jake Galloway and Evan Byrne's helmets as a result, rather than just the steering wheel in the cockpit. So that's good, as we ride on board with Byrne now. It seems that the TV director seems to be loving showing a lot of Byrne's car at the moment, as he's 2 tenths down on his personal best in the first sector at this point in time.
I think they want to make sure that the tribute livery comes through. That is a really nice touch by the directors.
Indeed, of course, Evan made that livery. In fact, he was the one who's made most of the liveries, in fact, including the GP2 liveries. So big props to him. And he'll also be designing liveries for the Fantasy Era next season, as Garber forced into a little error there by
Sorry.
David Kupok. And Kupok has been finally able to get past the Italian. Now, Chris Chatfield will be looking to do the same if he can. He's not
Did
able
these
to on this
guys
occasion.
forget that it was practice?
Who knows, really? Maybe getting some race practice underneath them. Who knows, really? So we look at Franco Gambo, who's had to slow down a bit because his teammate Miklos Gau has just come out of the pits. As Garber now trying to see if he can get past into turn 3, but Gau not letting him. So bit of confusion going on at the Red Bull camp at the moment. So meantime, they've got a Manor that's behind them. Of course, this is Manor's last season, of course, in the top class before they get replaced by the new 11th team, which will be revealed at a later date, more likely in the new year, but we will see. Just so you know, I do know what the 11th team is, but I'm not going to say. Prize.
Yes, I also know what it is. It is a secret.
Just
right?
so you know, Nico doesn't know what it is. I think
it's a secret, so I know it. We all know that it's a secret.
Meanwhile, Chatfield's still having trouble trying to get by on Roberto Garber. There is. Whoa! Gomez, is that a spin? Is that the pit exit glitch? Because there was a car that came out there. Let's have a look.
Aye.
And it was when it was Armar Car who was just coming out of the pits there, and Gomez goes for a spin. Well, those two had a couple of collisions last season, it must be said, at both Silverstone and Hockenheim, so maybe still some tension between the two of them at this point in time, but that has not helped Gomez's run at all at this point in time.
Definitely not.
He currently lies in 15th position in this practice session. Now, the tyres we're using for this race, just so you know, it is the soft tyres. Of course, that tyre tried to not make an appearance too much in 2019, thanks to the random tyre generator, but it appeared in the finale in 2019 in Brazil, and it's made an appearance in the first race of the season. I wonder how many times the random generator will avoid the soft tyre this season. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
As we look at Gomez, of course, his lap has been affected. As Garber there getting a huge lockup going through into turn 3 there. As Garber makes his way through turns 4 and now into turn 5. So his lap has already been wrecked there. And I think something was going on in the background there, which is why the FPS was going a little bit slow there. So apologies for that, but I think there was something running in the background of Viewers' computer. But it looks like he's got it fixed. In the meantime, Rote goes up into second position now, 18 thousandths off of Armar Car. So you could say, in a way, it's a Mercedes 1-2. Fair enough. So you could say, in a way, it's a Mercedes 1-2. So, moving on, as it seems that the photocopier that the Racing Point was able to acquire, according to Yuri at the end of the season, seems to be working very well, and they seem to be showing some very strong pace during pre-season testing as well. Who knows, really? Maybe they could get an odd win this season. Is that a bit too much of an ask?
Maybe.
Who knows?
I don't think so.
But we'll see, of course.
What is my cat doing in the background? He's yelling for something.
I don't know.
Yeah, he does that sometimes. Okay. Maybe he's hungry.
To break in, but Miklos Gau has now gone to the top of the championship seats by nearly 8 tenths out of Armar Car. A 1 minute 24.473, so a good time there. As Martinez looks like he's going to have a lockup, and he is. Of course, Manor running a special livery for this season, of course, commemorating to the fact that this is their last season in the top class, and they want to go out in style. As
it looks absolutely stunning.
Thank you for that. Obviously, I was the one that made the Manor this season, so well, not the Virgin sponsor. I think Evan added that one in, I believe. So, so that's that. As meantime, Gomez makes his way through the long swooping left-hander before making his way towards the left-right chicane. 1.5 seconds down on Gal and 6 tenths off his personal best in the middle sector. But Gal currently at the top with a 1 minute 24.473. Meantime, Felix Sontag has been able to improve to get up into 17th position, although still not close. Well, in fact, he is close to his teammate, but still not directly behind his teammate at the moment. Griffiths currently in 13th position. Griffiths, of course, at long last making his top class debut and looking to have a very good rookie season. We look at Kirishima DeRosa now then, or as Yuri was calling him a lot last season, Kirishima the Unlucky. So it'll be hoping that he doesn't get unlucky luck this season. That made no sense whatsoever what I just said there, but moving on. Yeah, he'll be hoping to put all the bad luck he had from last season behind him and hope to have better luck this season. In the meantime, Franco Gama gets up into second to make it a Red Bull 1-2, but still 6 tenths off of Nicolas Gal at this point in time. So it's now a Red Bull 1-2, as now Gomez goes flat out through turn 5.
So Miklos is the only driver at the moment that has done a 124, I think.
If I can do... Yes, I believe so. You are correct. I think Franco Gama's time just, if I do some quick maths, I think is just above the 1 minute 25. So, yeah, Gal at the moment, the only person who has done a 1 minute 24 in this session. But will other drivers try and improve on that or get closer to that time? Well, he's still got 60 and a bit minutes to go, so I think it is entirely possible. As Kirishima DeRosa is heading back into the pits this lap. McLaren, of course, finishing best of the rest last season in the Constructors' Championship. And, of course, finishing 7th and 8th in the Drivers' Championship last season. They'll be looking to build on that for this season. Meantime, Andrea Videri has gone up into 13th position in the Alfa Romeo, getting in front of Jamie Griffiths. Over into P13 goes the Italian. As we ride on board with Gomez, who makes his way through the second to last turn, before flicking the car around the final corner and onto the pit straight now then. And let's see what Gabriel Gomez can do. And I don't think he's going to improve. And no, he doesn't. He's way off his personal best. 1.2
Yeah,
seconds
because
off.
he spun. Because he spun in the first corner, if you remember.
It was on a different lap. This is a fresh new lap he just did there. But still, way
Oh, I
off
thought
the
it
pace.
was the same one.
No, because in the first sector, he was around 15 seconds slower. So I think it would have been impossible for him to claw. I think it would have been impossible for him to claw 13 seconds back in the last sector, to be honest, Nico. Unless he had some superpowers. Something's kicking off down here. It seemed that Willows and... was that Griffiths he just made contact with? It was Griffiths. There might have been just a bit of contact going down into turn 3 there, as Willows was trying to find a way through him in there into turn 1. Let's have a look, shall we? They've also got one of the Red Bulls behind them as well. I believe that's Miklos Gal that's behind. Let's see. Was there contact between Willows and Griffiths into turn 3? Let's have a look. And yes, there was.
Yes.
Just a little bit of a wheel bang there.
Friendly laugh tap.
Yes, Willow's giving Griffiths a very rude welcome to the top class, it must be said. Willow's, of course, the only driver remaining now in the top class to have competed in every race, of course. Jay McKenzie not being in the top class this season after missing out on a drive. And a lot of people, as I said earlier in the stream chat, believing it's going to feel a little bit weird not seeing Jay McKenzie on the grid. It just, for some people, it just doesn't feel the same without him. But that's unfortunately how the OC works, I'm afraid. And it can be kind and it can be cruel. And Jay, of course, he's hoping he'll be back in the top class, though. Hopefully in 2021. He is competing in DTM this season, so he hasn't retired like some people thought he would have done in the off-season. He's going to stay on and hope to get back in the top class, hopefully in 2021, or hopefully at some point in the fantasy era. So, I hope to see Jay McKenzie. I would like to see him back in the top class, because I think he has got some unfinished business, even with the 2 championships that he's won. I think he's got he still wants to prove a point. So, back to the action. We've got Gal, who's currently stuck behind Griffiths, and his lap time currently being compromised as a result, as Gomez makes his way through the penultimate corner. Now we look at Griffiths now then, who, has he been overtaken by the Red Bull? Has he still got him behind? No, he's still got the Red Bull behind, because that's still a McLaren in front of him at the moment. As Griffiths now then comes around the final corner. Long last for him, making his debut in the top class after many seasons of trying. Finally had a breakthrough season in 2019, and finally on the top class grid for Williams. Willow's not able to improve, as he has a big lockup into the first corner there. Meantime, Laura Chung has been able to get up into 9th position, so able to get one of the Ferraris in the top 10. Willows was, of course, held up by Griffiths on that lap after the contact, and it seems that his lap's going to be compromised even more thanks to that lockup, as he's just been pushed outside the top 10 thanks to his former teammate Laura Chung, who got up into 9th position, 1.133 behind Miklos Gal at this point in time. As Willow's 5 tenths down his personal best in the first sector there, so the lockup clearly costing him some time. I don't know if he was going to improve if without that lockup. I'm not sure. Meantime, the other Ferrari has now got up into the top 10. Roberto Gamba gets into 10th position, so it's now 9th and 10th for the two Ferrari drivers as Rote tries to find a way through on the manor there of Amelia Wilson. Not able to make the move just yet, but might be able to into turn 3. Of course, these two are powered by the same power plant, of course, powered by the Mercedes engine. So same power down the street that both the Manor and the Racing Point are producing. Although Racing Point have decided to rebrand their engines as BWT Mercedes. Meantime, Franco Lopez has been able to find an improvement. He gets up into second position, splitting the two Red Bulls. So 2 tenths off of Miklos Gal at the moment, getting in front of his fellow Franco Gamba, but still 2 tenths behind Miklos Gal at this point in time. Running on board with Amelia Wilson, making her debut in the top class. The second female on the grid this season, alongside Laura Chung. Of course, won the Formula E title last season after previous seasons of bad luck. And she's looking to hopefully have a good rookie season in what will be her only season with Manor, of course, given that the team are pulling out at the end of the season. It'll be very interesting to see what will happen with Wilson and Martinez by the end of the season, whether they're able to find other teams, try and find another team for next season, or they'll end up in another tier. It will be a bit of a question. Of course, for both Wilson and Martinez, they'll need to perform very well if they want to find themselves at another team for 2021.
Yeah, it is sad that Manor leaves, but that's how it is, I think. I mean...
By the way, hello, Bruno. I've just noticed that Bruno de Barros has just appeared in the chat. How are you doing?
Hello.
Meantime, Franco Gamba was trying to find a way through on Evan Byrne there, but it wasn't able to work that way. Of course, we know how draggy that Renault is on the straight, but it seemed that Franco wasn't able to get late on the brakes there compared to Byrne. Through turn 4, the pair of them go.
Did anyone notice if Rob is in the chat? Quick question.
Don't think I've seen his name, but I could be wrong. I think I'm just going to double check if he appeared at all. No, I don't think he's here, Nico.
Okay, because then I will tell him in Discord. Because if he wants, he can do the qualifying. Because I'm a bit tired.
Okay.
If that is okay for Yuri, by the way, and for you.
I'm fine with that. Of course, if we can get Rob in, then we can. Okay. Time Willows wasn't able to improve on that. He's in the chat now, is he? Perfect timing, I guess.
Yeah, perfect timing. Like he has been searching for. Maybe he's watching it and just at this moment wanted to say hello. Well, my cat is making noises behind me. Stop doing that, please.
Lovely. Meanwhile, Joseph Wells is coming back into the pits this lap. As meantime, Frankie Gomez is going to try again to get by on Evan Byrne down the pit straight. Can he get later on the brakes on him this time? He definitely can, and is able to get ahead of him this time by. But Franco's coming into the pits this lap, so pretty much a waste of time if you ask me.
And I think we will see.
Byrne might actually try and get him back. Actually, Byrne going back on the inside here of Franco Gamba, and he does.
And he makes it stick. Wow, what a move! And this is only practice. Yeah. So we can conclude that there will be a lot of overtakes this season.
Sorry, we've got some contact. Sontag and one of the Alpha Towers have made contact there. And it was Chris Chatfield who made contact as Franco Lopez was able to improve a little bit more to be 0.205 behind Gal that time by still in second. Let's have a look at this. So let's just see. As Chatfield, was he trying to go for an ambitious move down the inside? You could say ambitious, but I don't know what Chatfield was thinking there, to be honest. For some reason, he came back on the racing line and attacked the back of Sontag. So not really sure what was going on there with Chris Chatfield.
Yeah, we don't know, but maybe he missed his marks, or there was a plane in the sky that he wanted to point to, but yeah, we will never know.
Yeah, well, whatever the case, it kind of put Andre Videri off a little bit as he was trying to avoid the pair of them. In fact, as Sontag nearly came close to contact there between himself and Videri, as Lopez behind him, who obviously improved a little bit more on his lap, has had to jam on the brakes to avoid hitting the back of Chris Chatfield. As meantime, the Williams is trying to find a way back past Videri into turn 3. And I think was able to get the move done, in fact. So Felix Sontag able to get back in front of Videri as a result. Meantime, Kirishima De Rosa is able to improve a little bit more, but only up into 13th position. McLaren only 12th and 13th at this point in time. They have been a little bit shaky during testing, it must be said, the McLarens. Sometimes they can be up there, sometimes they can be right in the middle. Either either their pace is inconsistent or the midfield this season appears to be very, very close.
I think it's the latter. That the midfield is very, very close this season.
Anytime the two Gambas join suit and go into the pits at the same time there, so Cousins doing the same thing there as part of the Gamba Mafia. Would have been more interesting if Maderi came in the pits at the same time if he was behind them, because he's also part of that same Gamba Mafia. So
Yeah.
that's that. As meanwhile, we got Lopez, who's now stuck behind Chris Chatfield after Chatfield made that mistake, and Chatfield going back into the pit. So Lopez will get some clear track. I don't know if he'll get the pit indicator after this lap, but we'll wait and see. As he'll be trying to get up to the back of Sontag, and he's not going to have the pit signal, so we'll see if he's able to find some more pace in the Mercedes. But going through turn 2 then goes Lopez, as the defending champion, of course, bringing the number 1 on his car. The first time that we've seen the number 1 in the top class since 2016. Of course, Florian Volker being the last driver to have number 1 on the car. Lopez deciding to bring it back for this season, as he looks to become only the second driver in OC history to become back-to-back world champion. Whether he can do it or not, it remains to be seen, as it seems that Armar Carr during testing has been running pretty close to Lopez, it must be said. In fact, topping 2 of the 4 tests overall. One in
Joseph
Catalonia.
Willows has done that as well, being a champion 2 seasons in a row. I guess I'm wrong then.
Oh, I was not a back-to-back champion, Nico. The one because Yuri won the title in between the 2 I won.
Yeah.
Although it should have really been 3 in a row. I'm definitely still not salty about the 2007 finale. Moving on. As into the 4th to last corner there. Meantime, Gabriel Gomez gets up into 14th position, getting in between both De Rosa and Evan Byrne, as now Lopez is caught up to the back of Felix Sontag. As meanwhile, Gomez is trying to find a way through on one of the McLarens there. I'm not sure which one it is. It's Willows, because that's the number 97 on that McLaren. And it seems that Willows has just come back into the pits, as Gomez was obviously up into 14th that time by, but I wouldn't be surprised if his lap has been interfered as a result of that, as Kirby now tries to find a way through on Galloway there. Of course, got a late call up to Renault after what happened during the off-season, and so far looked pretty quick in pre-season testing as Jake Galloway, and so far finds himself in 9th. As meanwhile, meantime, Armar Carr has got up into 3rd position, so it's now the top 4 consisting of both Red Bull and Mercedes at this point in time. Carr getting himself up into 3rd position ahead of Franco Gamba at this point in time. As meanwhile, we look at Gomez, who's trying to find a way through on Willows again, but isn't able to do so. Willows able to stay in front as they make their way through the 3rd to last turn and up towards the corner where Joseph Willows has got some bad memories from 2009 in the McLaren, where he after Alex Southgate tipped him on his side after he was trying to lap both him and Will Nello, I believe it was. So we're hoping that doesn't happen again now that he's back at McLaren. As Gomez, meanwhile, does not improve thanks to the hold-up from Willows and remains in 14th position, and he's coming back into the pits this lap as he comes out of turn 2. Of course, Gomez, some people could say he's very lucky to get retained by Alfa Romeo this season, given the tricky season that the Brazilian had, and a bit of a controversial one at one race, it must be said, at Sochi, where he took out Motrin and ruined any chance of Motrin trying to end his podium drought. Well, given the pace that we've seen from the Racing Point, this may be Motrin's best chance to finally end that podium drought. We'll have to wait and see, of course. As
hopefully it will end.
It could have ended last season at Sochi if Gomez had just played by the blue flag rules, but obviously
he didn't.
Well, Gomez will be looking to put the disappointment of 2019 behind him and hope to have a better year in 2020. And of course, there's 2 Brazilians on the grid this season in the form of Gabriel Gomez and Dudu Kirby. So it'll be interesting to see how that one gets on, as we've got a 3-car scrap going on here. As Verderi is trying to find a way through on De Rosa, whilst also having one of the Mercedes behind. That looks to be, I think, Armar Carr, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's a red helmet. I believe it is Carr that's behind these 2 at the moment. So,
yes, it is.
It is Carr. Okay. So, Now look at Videri now then, who's currently stuck behind Kira. So whilst one of the Alphas was stuck behind Willows, Gomez was stuck behind Willows, the other Alpha Videri stuck behind the other McLaren of De Rosa. So as I think there was a little bit of a lock-up there. I think I saw a little bit of tyre smoke. I don't know if that came from De Rosa or Videri there. It might have been Videri because he's dropped a little bit back now from De Rosa as a result and now fell into the clutches of the Mercedes behind it, we believe, Armagh car. As meantime, Galloway gets up into 8th position, so an improvement there for the new Renault driver, as Videri for some reason decided to go defensive from that Mercedes, probably getting some defensive practice during the practice session. Well, it is called a practice session for a reason. Just over 4 minutes to go now then in this practice session before we get on to the qualifying session for tomorrow's Australian Grand Prix. And Derry now then comes out of the final turn, and it looks like it's not going to be an improvement because I believe that was him that locked up at that chicane, which no longer exists, of course, in real life because it is now a faster right-left complex that now has replaced it when Formula One hopefully makes its return in 2022 in April. So,
hopefully.
Yeah. Well, I've made a bold prediction that none of the races next season will get either cancelled or postponed. It's a bold prediction, but hopefully they don't, but you never know. Anyway, back to the OC action as Videri now then 2 tenths down on his personal best in the first sector. He's still got the Mercedes of car right behind him. So with just a few minutes to go, as Martinez, in fact, is he actually going to pass a Red Bull here? Let's have a look. And no.
No, sadly.
No, Gal, that was Miklos Gal he was trying to pass there because that was a Max Verstappen helmet. Gal clearly not willing to get embarrassed. As meantime, Evan Byrne breaks into the top 10 to get up into 10th. Roke slightly improves but remains in 5th position in front of Chris Chatfield. The AlphaTauri is having a good session so far in this practice session. But so far, this is what the leaderboard currently looks like with just under 3 minutes to go. It's Gal at the top with Lopez in 2nd, Carr in 3rd. Then it's Franco Gamba in 4th with Roke in 5th, Chatfield 6th, Keepok 7th, Galloway in 8th, Motra in 9th, Byrne in 10th, Chung 11th, Roberto Gamba in 12th with Willows 13th, De Rosa 14th, Gomez 15th, Videri 16th, Griffiths 17th, Sontag 18th, Wilson 19th, Martinez 20th, Kirby in 21st, and Fraser in 22nd position. As we saw, Chung there had a little bit of a moment a little bit earlier on in the lap, just as she was approaching the end of Sector 2. So we now look at Martinez now then, with just 2.5 minutes to go. As behind him, he's got Williams and a Ferrari looming around. As Martinez makes his way through second to last corner. Around the final turn then, we'll go the Filipino. He makes his way onto the straight, and I don't think he'll be able to improve. Chris Chatfield's come out on the track looking to get one more lap in before the session comes to a close as he gets overtaken there by the other man over Amelia Wilson. So that's not going to bode well there. Clearly the Mercedes might have a little bit of an edge on the Honda down the straight, although in testing they looked a little bit equal. Meantime, Fraser gets out of last position and gets up into 17th ahead of Jamie Griffiths. So that pushes his teammate down into last position. Meantime, Evan Byrne improves to go up into 8th, so he gets in front of his rookie teammate. So up into P8 he goes. And speaking of which, here is his teammate Jake Galloway, who's going to come across the line and does not improve. And I think the Estrella Galicia might need to be fixed, so something for Evan to point out there because it is mirrored. As meantime, we now look at Franco Gamba, who makes his way down the pit straight and does not improve.
I did not notice that, but it was mirrored.
Yeah, as meanwhile we look at De Rosa around the final turn, onto the pit straight, see what De Rosa can do. I don't think he's going to improve, and across the line, and no, he does. In fact, he did improve, in fact, and he gets above his teammate into 13th position. Was able to find, surprisingly, some time in the last sector there. Jamie Griffiths, across the line goes the Welshman, and no improvement for him there. Still remains in 18th position. Chung doesn't improve. Here comes Wilson. Across the line, no improvement for her. As behind, I think that's Chatfield, has just started his lap as he's going to get by now on Amelia Wilson. And no, he's not, so his lap has been wrecked as a result. Miklos Gal, the man currently at the top of the timing sheet, and looks like he's going to stay there unless somebody's able to find an improvement. Does not improve, remains on a 124.4.
What about Sontag?
Sontag doesn't improve. Roberto doesn't improve either. Keepok doesn't look like he's improving either, judging from the death panel. Across the line, no improvement. So now we look at Willows. Might get one more lap after this, and I think he will get one more lap. Heading down the pit straight goes Willows. Can he improve on his lap? And across the line he goes, and no, he can't. Remains in 14th position. Evan Byrne across the line remains in 8th. As meantime, George Roke remains in 5th position. A good session so far for Roke as Galloway comes across the line with 15 seconds on the clock. As across the line, no improvement for him either. Now we've got 10 seconds on the clock. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
and he can make another
1,
lap.
0. Checkered flag is out, and that is the end of the session. Who was the last one to cross the line? Just going to double check very quickly. I think it was Franco Gamba who was the last to cross the line, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And yes, it was. So Gamba's the last one to cross the line. Roland didn't have enough time to do a lap there. Here comes De Rosa. Across the line goes the Polish driver and remains in 13th position. Amarkar across the line and he remains in 3rd. Videri across the line he goes. No improvement for him. Griffiths and Chung go back into the pits. Lopez didn't do enough to set another lap, probably just getting some mileage under his belt before qualifying gets underway. Wilson across the line, she will go now in the manor, and she does not improve. Chatfield doesn't improve either. Here comes Miklos Gal. Looks like he's going to stay at the top, but let's see. Miklos Gal now then comes across the line. Can he improve? And no, he can't. Remains on 24.4. Felix Sontag, he's on a green sector, so he could be able to improve on his final lap. Across the line goes Sontag, and no, he loses time in the last sector. Roberto Gamba doesn't improve either. Here comes David Kupok across the line, currently in 7th, and remains in 7th. Joseph Willows looks like he's not going to improve as he makes his way through the final turn onto the straight. He will now go, and Willows, can he find a miracle in the last sector? I doubt it. And no, he can't. Remains where he is. Evan Byrne crosses the line. No improvement for him either. Roke crosses the line. No improvement for him either. Here comes Jake Galloway coming out the final turn. Across the line will go the debutant, the 2016 Formula E champion. Crosses the line. No improvement for him. And Garma goes back into the pits. And that is practice done with. So your top 3, Miklos Gal, Franco Lopez and Amar Carr. So what did you make of that session overall, Nico?
We have seen a lot of overtakes in the practice session, but it's quite promising for the rest of the season or the rest of this weekend for now. It's interesting that Red Bull is faster currently than Mercedes. It is quite a surprise, I think. And yeah, let's see what qualifying brings us.
Hopefully it's going to be an exciting one. We're just going to take a brief break and we'll be back in just a little bit with a fresh stream. But for the meantime, I've been JW97. He's been Nico. I'm not sure if he's going to be there for the quali stream though, because he did request Rob to be alongside me for this one, for qualifying. But until then, we'll see you in a little bit for qualifying. See you in a bit.